The name of our production is How to Bust a Bully. We like that title because it has the promise that you're going to be educated, you're going to learn something, and what you're going to learn is the information and the strategies you need to deal with bullying, to empower yourself and your friends and your entire environment to deal with bullying, shake it off, move forward, and enjoy school as the environment and experience it was meant to be. Just because a kid is going to walk out of this show and be singing the songs about what to do with bullies and be remembering the jokes about what to do with bullies doesn't mean that actually confronting that bully, whether it's in person or through the school system, through the community system, through your parents, it's not going to be easy. You still have to have some courage. You still have to stand up and wonder what kind of consequences that standing up is going to bring out, and we acknowledge that. So it's important to let the kids know we're not going to sugarcoat this. We're going to use humor, not that bullying is ever humorous, but to get across the lessons we want to get across, humor is a great tool, and we use it very frequently, generously, and we believe to tremendous effectiveness. But when we're dealing with these issues, we have to be respectful that the kids know they're not in some utopian environment, that bullying does go on. And we have a song that acknowledges the fact that schools may not be the safe haven we wish they were, although we do provide strategies to move them a little closer to being that safe haven again. A show like this, which is addressing an issue which has so many dimensions to it, sometimes lends itself to a format other than a straight dramatic piece where there will be 4 characters. You start with 4 characters, continue with 4 characters, and end with 4 characters. So we have tapped into the review format, which allows us to have our 4 principals drift in and out of different situations, drift in and out of different characters. It keeps it fresh for the audience. It allows us to go any place we want to with this show. We have one sequence where we're talking to bullying survivors, Vic and Tim. Benefit, we believe, in the review format is a sitcom knockoff that we use, which we call Leave It to Bully. And in Leave It to Bully, we visit a bully in her home. We see how she interacts with her parents, and it helps us understand one situation in one bully's life that may, in some ways, not nurture, but give rise to the bully that then goes into a school situation and brings out all these issues that maybe have started in the home. And it is not accusatory toward the parents of every bully. It is not a situation that allows us to excuse bullying behavior. It's just an instance of how bullying may arise and how one family deals with it. Something that I think everyone would agree with is that bullying consumes a lot of energy and a lot of thought on the part of the bully. And we believe this is energy and thought that could be rechanneled into something positive. We have a song called The Bully Hall of Fame, in which we take a few instances of kids who have become bullies and are pretty good at it, but would have been pretty great at something else had they taken that energy, that thought, that cleverness into doing something positive. One kid in the song could have been a great rock and roll guitar player. One kid could have been a fashion designer. One kid might someday have been an engineer designing Indy cars. But all this energy and all this thought and all this cleverness are wasted on just trying to make other kids feel bad. When you're respecting your audience and you're talking up to them as opposed to talking down to them, and you're really trying to challenge their intellect, you can do it in a few ways, but you have to be consistent and you have to keep going at them. And we do it with language. We have a song in which there's a verse, in the American cornucopia, we're all red, white, and blue, so drop that xenophobia, because if your folks ain't on the nickel, you're a transplant too. And we know everybody in that room isn't going to know what xenophobia is, but we also know that if we've done our job, they'll walk out of that classroom or arena, gymnasium, theater, wherever the show is presented, and that word xenophobia will stick in their heads. It might be a subject for discussion in a class. At very least, hopefully they'll look it up in a dictionary. And we also bring up history lessons. And no kid may think they want to hear history lessons, but when we can present a show about bullying and talk about history's most horrible bully, Adolf Hitler, and how he was nothing more than a bully on the biggest scale you can imagine, telling everybody else in the world, give me Austria or I'll start a war, give me Czechoslovakia or I'll start a war, he starts to seem a little bit more relevant. And the solution does too when we talk about the guy who stopped that bully, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and the way he stopped by saying, we have nothing to fear but fear itself, because that works on the world stage and it works in a classroom. Part of respecting your audience is honoring the time commitment that your audience is making to come in and see the show you're doing. And we respect that time commitment, and we do it in this case by trying to be as stimulating and as energizing as we can with the music that we present. And you're going to hear a lot of songs in this show, and you're going to hear a lot of different kinds of music, some of which kids we know are going to love. There are dance songs, there is a rap, and there's some heavy metal, but there are also some musical genres that might not be quite as familiar to kids. We get into a Mardi Gras New Orleans party kind of a song for a piece called Martin Scorsese, about dealing with fear and the things you see in movies that you might think are going to translate to how a bully tries to get you, but aren't really like that in real life. And we have a song which is actually musically driven in the style of Cab Calloway, and it's called The Funny Thing About Fear. So we do present an array of music, and we think it's not only going to energize our show, it's not only going to keep our audience stimulated, but it'll be somewhat of a musical education for the audience as well. If How to Bust a Bully succeeds, we will have presented the audience with what we believe are viable and realistic strategies for dealing with bullying in the schools and in the community. However, our intent is to present those strategies not just for kids, but for parents, families, school administrators and teachers, and members of the community, to arm as many people as we can with the tools they need to address bullying and make school and community a little bit safer in the mode that we all would like it to be. My co-creators, Buddy Reeder, Michael Carlson, and I are really excited about bringing How to Bust a Bully to your community this fall. But you don't have to wait till this fall. Start checking the Little Theater on the Square website as often as you can for updates, news on new songs we're adding, and all the terrific things that we're putting into this show that we think will make it a really, really exciting, informative, educational, and effective world premiere this fall, when we can all go out together and bust a bully.